Turning Red, the computer-animated fantasy comedy from Pixar, dropped last month, and the movie has so far faced positive reviews. Directed by Domee Shi, the movie is the first Pixar project directed solely by a woman, which is pretty incredible given that it is now 2022. Also, it is only the second Pixar film to feature an Asian character. Today, we are discussing how Turning Red is not following any of Pixar's rules. Stay tuned. First up, what's the movie all about? The movie focuses on Meilin Lee, a young Toronto girl who is going through some bodily changes, and one very odd one in particular. Mei works hard to appease her overbearing mother, and even has to hide her and her school friends' interest in boys, and particularly the boy band Four Town. After having a nightmare one night, Mei wakes up to find out she is transformed into a giant red panda. This sends her into a frenzy, trying to conceal her new transformation, but it turns out that all the women in her family have the ability to transform into a giant red panda when they get into a highly emotional state, but it can also be suppressed by taking part in a ritual. Four Town then announce a show in Toronto, which Mei and her friends want to attend, but whilst at Tyler's party, Mei realizes the planned ritual to suppress her red panda form falls on the same night as the concert. Mei then attacks Tyler after he insults her, whilst Ming, Mei's mother, chastises her friends for corrupting her, but Mei fails to defend her friends. Whilst taking part in her ritual, Mei decides not to completely go through with it and heads off to the concert. Ming gives chase and turns into her red panda form, and Mei accidentally knocks her out, but the pair reconcile, and with the help of Mei's friends and Four Town, they sing their way through the ritual to rid Mei of her red panda. So, how does it break Pixar's rules? Let's discuss. Just before Domee Shi conceived of the concept of Turning Red, she had just completed work on Bao, a metaphorical short about a woman's bao bun lunch, which comes to life in the form of a surly teenager. It is supposedly an allegory for motherhood, and took inspiration from the director's own life growing up as a Chinese Canadian. She then came up with the concept of Turning Red, which is also a euphemism for puberty, and focuses on Meilin Lee as she goes through her own personal change. And it is this more personal aspect that has fans clamoring, and has apparently broken a ton of Pixar's movie-making rules, of which there are apparently 22. Pixar has been known to strip stories down to their absolute core before trying to focus on universal themes such as love and family to appeal to a more general crowd, but Turning Red is slightly different. The story stays true to Domee Shi's initial ideas, something which Pixar has been criticized for before, stripping movies down so much that they are completely alien to their original idea. It's great that she has the confidence in her work to stick to her goals, and it's also great to see that Pixar is allowing her to do it, something which they have rarely done in the past. Take Up, for example. The hit movie started out as a movie about two aliens living in a floating city, but that's not how Domee Shi chooses to practice her craft. Her authority is absolute, and we love it. What is your favorite Domee Shi movie? And what did Domee Shi herself have to say about it? Well, she told fans that she actually chooses to work at speed, as too much thought can ruin her approach. She said, "There was no clear-cut schedule or any structure to pitching these ideas. You can kind of go at your own pace. For me, I just want to go fast because my worst fear is to overthink and overdo and overpolish something until it loses all of its uniqueness." It was also revealed that she had broken some other rules in the filmmaking process by including some of her own personal experiences. In Turning Red, there's a scene where Mei is completely embarrassed by Ming at school, which quite obviously comes from Shi's own youth. Producer of the movie, Lindsay Collins, said that when you hear a pitch such as this, that's always a drug, which is not something you get out of the gate normally. The focus on a more personal touch is not something Pixar are historically familiar with, but they are coming around to the idea recently with the release of titles such as Luca and Onward. The fact that this one also focuses on a specific Chinese-Canadian community in Toronto is also a change of pace for the studio, whose earlier movies, such as Toy Story, could have taken place in any small town in Middle America. And we love the more personal touch to these modern titles. What do you guys make of Pixar's new direction? Do you see Shi as a driving force behind it? Let us know below. So, what were the other inspirations for the movie? She has made mention in the past of Vancouver and Toronto Toronto, often trying or pretending to be American cities, referencing the fact that film crews often use the location to film movies due to the city taxes being much less. Shi's experiences as a Chinese Canadian growing up meant that Turning Red always had to be set in Toronto, as if it were anywhere else, it could have run the risk of being turned into a completely different movie altogether. We know that Shi loves to incorporate manga and anime in her work, and having a real-world setting helps to counterbalance this style. Also, we see Mei and her friends using Tamagotchi, which is another nod to the time period. As soon as you see the pocket-sized digital pet, you know exactly when this movie is set. Then we have Four Town. The band are so obviously a nod to boy bands of the time, like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. The Four Town tunes were actually written by pop princess Billie Eilish and her brother, would you believe? Collins has also spoken about how it was important for the studio not to just stylize it for the sake of stylizing it. She referenced the fact that technology had now expanded so far that they were able to do far more with effects. But she also said it was important that they let the viewer see it through the eyes of Mei, saying, "Since our character is a 13-year-old Asian girl, it was important for us to put that lens on when we were designing the world." Domee Shi has also given us more details about the film's animation style. Stay tuned. Having now been with Pixar for more than a decade, it's safe to say Domee Shi is becoming part of the furniture, which allows her a bit more freedom artistically, as we have mentioned. And after admitting the story is based on her own experiences growing up, she also delved into why the movie is stylized the way it is. She said, "The inspiration behind Turning Red came from my own life growing up in the early aughts as a Chinese Canadian, a dorky, sassy, nerdy girl who thought she had everything under control. I was mom's good little girl, and then boom, puberty hit. I was bigger, I was hairier, I was hungry all the time, I was a hormonal mess. I was fighting with my mom every other day." The chunky cute style, coined by the filmmakers themselves, takes inspiration from Shi's previous work on Bao and is designed to reflect how the main character Mei sees the world. She explained that the style was always going to emphasize how young girls see the world and designed a set accordingly. She went on to say that they wanted to make the world in which Mei lives seem like it was actually designed by a 13-year-old girl, which is how they coined the chunky cute style phrase. She has also referenced animes such as Sailor Moon as inspiration for the movie's style, and we are sure it is going to be a hit. Will you be watching this one? Let us know below. And finally, a couple of Easter eggs to discuss. Stay with us. Of course, Easter eggs are all the rage these days, and fans love being the first to spot them. But what references can we find in the current Pixar movie Turning Red? Well, eagle-eyed viewers might have seen the Lightyear sticker on Miriam's skateboard in reference to the upcoming Buzz Lightyear origin story. There's also a borrow sticker on Mei's notepad as she's sketching under the bed, a nod to the 2020 short by Madeline Sherifian. And then there is the Finding Nemo sticker on the bathroom stall as Mei and her friends are discussing their plan to attend the concert. There are a ton of others, not only stickers, but you will have to watch the movie to find them, and let us know what and where you found them in the comments below. As always, thanks for stopping by, and remember to swing by next time for some more fun reveals. Also remember to like, share, and subscribe. Adios, amigos!